Hello, this is Patrick with Royas, and today I'll be teaching you how to create an inventory system using an item list and GDScript. Okay, let's dive right in. I am going to go and add an item list under this canvas right here, like that. And now I am going to go and allow reselect, right button, select here, allow search, turn that off, turn auto height on, and now go down to this columns dropdown, turn the max columns to 4. The same column width, I'm going to turn that on. And the fixed column width, I'm going to turn to 55 pixels. Now I'm going to go down here to the icon dropdown and close the columns one. I'm going to switch the icon mode to top and set the fixed icon to 50 pixels on both the X and the Y. I'm going to close that and go down to layout and then transform. And I'm going to set the size to 253 pixels by 414. These are just the dimensions I found that work with 20 items in the item list. So this, you can set those to whatever you want for your project. That's just what I'm doing here. Okay, now I'm going to go and make a script, new script. I'm going to call this inventory.gd, and I'm going to create that. We can get rid of this process function. Now in this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a class name, inventory, and this is just going to be for testing later. This isn't super important for it right now. Now I'm going to export two variables. Export of var inventory size. Whoops, got used to the C# there for a second. That's probably going to happen a lot. And I'm going to set that to 20 because that's what I'm doing for this tutorial. I'm going to export another var. This one's going to be blank icon. And this is just going to be a texture 2D. And I'm going to not put anything in there. And this is just going to be so that we can set that to be like whenever we loop through and have our inventory slots, if they don't have anything in them, they'll collapse. So having a blank icon in there means that they won't collapse in on themselves. Okay, now to do that, we're going to go 4, and I'm going to say I in inventory size. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go add underscore item, and I'm going to have a space so the text area doesn't collapse, and then I'm going to put in the blank icon. And there we go. So now we will have that. Now we'll want to have our actual items list, like our game items, rather than the items for the item list. So we'll have to go back to Godot and make another script. Create new script. I am going to call this item.gd, inherits from, or the template is going to be none. I'm going to open this up. It's going to be not extending node. I'm going to give it a class name, and it's going to be item. Okay, now I'm going to go var, and I'm going to have an ID for an item ID. So if you have like your item in the database or whatever, this would be its database ID. I'm going to have a var name. This is just going to be the item name. It's going to be of type string. A var icon. This is going to be a texture 2D. So this will just be the texture 2D that we'll set for the icon in the item list. I'm going to be var max quantity, and this is going to be of type int. And then I'm going to have a var quantity, and this is also going to be of type int. So this will be the maximum we allow in a single inventory spot, and then this will be the amount that we have. Okay, now let's go back to our inventory.gd, or GD, not GG, and make an array of these items. So we'll have a var items array, and we will have item in there. Okay, and in this loop now, we will append items to it, just blank items. So item dot append null. There. So now there'll be a matching number of these items and these items. So we want these to be matching at all times. Now I'm going to go down here and make a function, and I'm going to call this add inventory item, and it's going to take in a item of type item, and then it's going to return a bool. Okay, now we'll say if item is null or item.quantity is less than or equal to 0, we will just return false. So we are just returning so that, like, if you had a game and you picked the item up, you would want to know if you could pick it up or not, right? Rather than just destroying the item on the ground or whatever that you picked up on. Now we'll say we'll have a variable could pick up for the exact same reason. We want to know if we can pick it up or not. We'll have that as a type bool. And then we'll set this equal to a function we will make down here, actually. So we are breaking this out into two functions, one to add items that can stack and one to add items that can't stack. So this is going to be the add for the stackable item. So we'll call it add stackable item. And we will do the same thing, item. And this will also return a type of bool. Okay, so we'll have the var could pick up here as well. Super original name, right? And it'll be of type bool, and this will be equal to false right now. Now we are going to loop, and we will have I in inventory size, and we'll say if C# again, item equals items I equals null, then we are going to continue because we can't stack on nothing. Then we're going to go and do another check down here, and we're going to say if items I dot ID doesn't equal item dot ID, so if they're not the same item, or items I dot quantity is greater than or equal to items I dot max quantity. So if the item stack is full, then we will just continue it as well. Continue. We're going to have another if statement down here, and we'll say if items I dot quantity plus item dot quantity is greater than items I dot max quantity, then we will go into this if statement and we'll say var amount to remove. So we can't put all of the items into that we want into the stack. Amount to remove, and this will be type int. This will be the items I dot max quantity minus items I dot quantity. So that's how many we'll remove from the current stack that we're trying to put in. So we'll go items I dot quantity is equal to items I dot max quantity. So now we're just setting it to the maximum that we need, or the maximum it can hold. And then we'll say item dot quantity is equal to item dot quantity minus the amount to remove. I'm just writing it out like this for clarity. Then I'm going to say could pickup is equal to true. So even if the rest of the inventory is full, we were able to put some of it into our inventory. So I'm going to say, yeah, you can pick that up. Now we're going to set the item text. We are going to set that at position I, and we're going to do a string of items I dot quantity. And then we're going to continue and look for another inventory slot that we could, with the same item, that we could add the remaining items to the stack of. Okay, now if this isn't true, what we're going to do here is go items I dot quantity is equal to item dot quantity plus items I dot quantity. Now we're just adding those together, and now we'll go item dot quantity is equal to 0, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll just copy actually this line here. No need to write that again, and we will return true. Now we'll go down here and just return could pick up. There we go. So now we've got our stackable items. So we will just do this item. So now we'll set this equal to that. Actually, we could do a check in here. If item dot max quantity is less than 2, we'll just return false. There, no reason to loop through everything when we don't have to, right? Okay, so back over here, you'll say if item dot quantity is less than or equal to 0, well then we don't have any more of that to pick up or place into an inventory slot, so we might as well return true. Okay, and now we're going to loop again. So we're going to go for I in inventory size. So we're looping through our inventory again. And I'm going to say if items I doesn't equal null. So we're just trying to find an open inventory spot here. So if it's not null, there's something there, and we will continue. Items, whoops, I mistyped something there. My bad. Okay, let's go back into this function or this for loop, and we will say items I is equal to item, and then we will set the icon. So set item underscore icon, and we'll set that at position I, and we'll set that to item dot icon. Simple. And then we'll go down here and we'll say if item dot max quantity is greater than 1, what we'll do is we'll go into here and set the item text. That this way we're not setting the text if there's nothing in the or if it's just a single item that can't stack. So we'll set this text to string items I dot quantity, and there we go. So we set the item text there, and then can return true here. And if we go down here, we will just return the could pick up down there. Okay, perfect. We've got all that done now. I'm just going to put a space there. What we can do now is add a function to remove items from our inventory and get items from our inventory. So I'm going to write the remove one here. So I'm going to go function remove inventory item. That's going to take in an index of type int, and that's going to be returning a void. And then we're going to say if index is less than 0 or the index is greater than or equal to inventory size, then we're going to return. This is just a check to make sure that the index we're sending in is within the bounds of our arrays. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go items index, and we're going to set that to null. And then we're going to go set item icon at position index, and we're going to set that to be the blank icon. And then we're also going to set the text, set item text, and that's going to be at index. And we're going to set the text to be just the space again. And now that's done. Now we can write the function to get an inventory item. So function get inventory item, and this is going to take in an index again. So index int, and this is going to return a item. So what we're going to do is say if, actually, we're just going to copy this line up here to check to see if it's in the bounds of the array again, and we're going to return null and put that on the correct line. Okay, and now we're just going to return the items at in position index. And there we go. Now we can add, remove, and get items from our inventory. Now I'm going to go and make a function so that when we click on the items with our left click, it'll tell us what items in that spot and how many of them we have. And if we right click, it'll just drop the items for us. So what I'm going to do is go function on inventory item clicked, and I'm going to take in an index of type int. I'm going to take in a position type vector2, and I am going to take in a mouse button index of type int, and this is going to return a void. Okay, so we're going to say if mouse button index is equal to 2, this is going to be a right click. So we're going to say var item is equal to get inventory item index. So we want to know what item we're clicking on. And we're going to say if item is equal to null, then we're going to print no items here. and then we're going to return. Okay, now we're going to go and remove inventory item at position index. Okay, and then we're going to print you dropped the item name dot name item name, and there were a total of, and then we'll go string or str and go item dot quantity. Simple enough. Now we'll go here and go elif mouse button index is equal to 1. We'll say var item. We'll just actually copy these two lines or these two things up here. No need to do these checks again for ourselves. And what we'll do is go and print you clicked on item dot name. There are string item dot quantity of them. Okay, and now that should be good. This is just mad because we're not using the position, but that's just because we go up here and we will say item clicked dot connect because there's a signal for it, and then it was on inventory. It's not giving it to me, so I'm gonna go here and copy it up here. And there we go. Okay, now we're gonna go and have to make a script to test all this. Clear that. And I'm gonna put that script on some buttons, so I'm gonna make the buttons first. So I'm gonna go Control A, button, and I'm gonna put some text into this button, and I'm gonna call it sword. Okay, and I'm gonna drag this over here. Rename the button to sword. And now I am going to put the script on it. So I'm going to go new, add item. Okay, let's just delete this process function. We don't need that. We're going to export a bunch of stuff here. So we're going to go export var inventory. And this is why I gave it a class name earlier, was to do this. This is just for testing. I know that's not how a lot of people do it in Godot, but you know what? It's just fast. So I'm going to go var ID int export var item name, and that's going to be string export var item icon, and that's going to be of type texture 2D. And then I'm going to export var max quantity. Woo! I feel like I've said quantity so many times in this video. Export var quantity. Woo! My favorite word. Int. Okay, now let's go and make a function here actually. So go func add new item. And this will return a void and take nothing in. Okay, so var item is equal to item dot new. Nothing in there. And then we'll go item dot ID is equal to ID item dot name is equal to item name. Item dot icon is equal to item icon. Item dot max quantity is equal to max quantity. Item dot quantity is equal to quantity. Okay, there we go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our inventory and type dot add item, add inventory item, sorry. And we're going to pass in the item. And there we go. Now all our coding's done. Woohoo! Now it's time for testing. Okay, I'm going to duplicate this 2 more times. And I am going to name this one arrows 3. And I'm going to name this one arrows 5. I'm going to change the text here too. Arrows 5. Arrows 3. Okay, I guess I had the wrong script attached to this. Not sure how that happened. Okay, now let's go set these up. I am going to for these arrows, drop in this icon. I'm going to say item name is arrows. The ID I'm going to set to 1. The inventory I'm just going to drag in here. The max quantity I'm going to set to 10. And for these arrows 5, I'm going to set the max quantity to be 5. I'm going to do the same here on this arrows 3. Drag in this icon, call it arrows, set the ID to 1, drag in the inventory, set the max quantity to 10, and the quantity to 3. And the sword, I'm going to do this. I'm going to drag in the item list. I'm going to leave the item ID at 0. I'm going to set the name to sword. Item icon, I'm going to drag in the sword icon. Max quantity, I'm going to set to 1. And quantity, I'm going to set to 1. Okay, now let's see if our inventory works after all of that. Oh yeah, okay. I also need to drag in this blank icon here. Okay, let's run this. Okay, we've got our blank spots there. They're lighting up. I'm going to click the sword. I forgot to go in here and go rest.connect add new item. Okay, whoops. Okay, now we're going to test. And there we go. It seems to be working. I'm going to get rid of these and add 3 more. It's adding it to there. Yep, everything seems to be working. Awesome. I hope you found this video useful. If you liked it, please like and subscribe. And if you have any recommendations, please let us know. Thank you very much. Bye.